My first story says I've been dating my boyfriend for 3 years. He lost his job a few months into our relationship and things became tough. I have been super supportive in all ways that I can, from providing him with clothing, with food, supporting him emotionally. However, I must confess that the first 3 months of our relationship was like heaven on earth. I mean, I was getting everything I ever wanted in a relationship and in a man till the unfortunate happened. He's been job hunting for close to 3 years to no avail. My problem now is I'm not getting any younger. I'll be turning 30 soon, and I'm starting to feel the pressure from my family to get married. My boyfriend talks about marriage and how he wants to build a home with me. The problem is he doesn't have the means right now. I wholeheartedly love this man, but I don't know how long I have to wait for his breakthrough. This has been stressing me out, honestly. I recently gave him a 2-month ultimatum to step up his game. That is, he gets a job or a small business running for him or risk losing me. I felt so guilty after telling him that. I fear he may do something he shouldn't because of my demand. Do you think I did the right thing? I really need your advice. All right, Tina, I'll come straight to you.
Okay, so what she's experiencing is life at its best. When I say life at its best, you typically know that life is not rosy. But sometimes you enjoy the life for like 5 years, 10 years, 11 years, for a long time before, challenges set in. But unfortunately for her, all the problems started 3 months into a relationship. And so she's now having to go through a lot for 3 years. She's been supporting a boyfriend, not even a husband, a boyfriend for 3 years. Now my question is, yes, he's been looking for jobs, job hunting, everything, but for 3 years he hasn't made a move on getting something going, as in, okay, doing odd jobs. And when I say odd jobs, maybe helping out with something and getting some, money, because typically a man is uncomfortable with a woman providing for him. Typically, and he always wants to push himself, or even vice versa. A hard-working woman also would not sit down for so long for a man to be providing for her all the time. So, pushing him to get something of his own is the best and ideal thing, but the way it's done is what brings it into question. Right. So how are you doing it? You gave him an ultimatum, which I think is a bit okay. I would say I wouldn't choose that path, right? An ultimatum, but I would rather not spoon feed him for 3 years too. I would rather suggest things he can get into. And instead of providing for him all these years, I would maybe give him some bulk money to start something, or introduce him to people that I may know, or businesses that I know that can bring him some, income. Right. Because an ultimatum, as you said, may put him on edge and may force him, if he really wants you that bad, may force him to get into something that's maybe a deal that he's not supposed to get into, and then push him in all sorts of ways. And then if maybe he also wants to go already, he would find his way, okay, fine, you say you want to leave me, so fine, then go. So I think if you really love him that much, instead of giving him an ultimatum, you can go back to him and then have a chat with him and let him know that, listen, I need you. I said what I said because I really need you to pick up from where you are and move. Right. So maybe I know ABCD, I'm going to introduce you to them, and then you can move on. So I think maybe you should just change the ultimatum a bit. And
but she's already said it. She's already given him.
So maybe an explanation to why she did that would be good, to let him know that I said that only because I really love you, and I want to push you from your comfortable situation or from where you are. So it's not like I really want to leave you.
Right.
So something like that.
All right. I think the girl's on the line, Rosina. Okay. Are you able to hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, super. Please tell me you've been following the conversation at least.
I have been.
Okay, great. So what do you think?
I think that I largely agree with Tina. I think that her biggest mistake was to allow it to go on for 3 years. Because the honest fact is that a man always wants to be sure that they are providing for their family. The moment a man cannot provide for his family, what happens is that there's this pride that he is stripped of. And most of the time, it puts him in a very uncomfortable state. But it's okay if they know that they provided for you before, but circumstances drove him to not be able to provide. But how long should you stay in that? I mean, he goes job hunting. In this day and age, when you don't get a job, you need to create your own job. I don't see why he should be job hunting for close to 3 years because he wants to be an employee for somebody. He's not getting it and he's not doing anything. Most of the time, people feel like they need that 6-figure job or 5-figure job. They need to have an annual income so big, so huge to show that, yes, they are the men. But sometimes you go start from somewhere. And in this day and age, there's no dirty job or there's no job. So far as you're earning money from that job and that money is legal and it can take care of your family, it is still a job. And I'm sure the woman would not be giving him ultimatums if he has started doing something. And at least, even if the money is not looking after both of them, at least the money can look after him. You understand? But in this case, she waited 3 whole years. I mean, that wait sometimes will get certain men comfortable because you are doing the work anyway. And the hazard is that even when he gets the job, he will still be used to taking the mantle. And he may not even contribute to the home because he knows, you've got it for 3 years. Why can't you do it for another 3 years? That's one. Now, the second thing is ultimatum. When you are in a relationship, no matter the circumstance, I think it's bad to give ultimatums. Discuss, communicate, put your cards on the table. Let him know why you would rather A, B, C, D, E, and not the other one. But the moment you give an ultimatum with time bound, in 2 months, either this or you put the guy in a very uncomfortable situation.
Yeah.
Oh, so now because of money, you are calling ultimatums for 2 months. Okay, and you're quiet. Or you'll be forced to go into some illegal dealing just to keep you for the 2 months. And in the end, you'll be surprised that maybe that dealing after getting some small money from 2-3 months, he might even lose it, or worst case scenario, he might get himself into trouble. So I think giving an ultimatum was bad. What you should do is to let him know that, look, babes, you know that I really love you and I've been with you for almost 3 years, even though you don't have money. So you should know that I'm not with you because of your money or anything. But if you want to build a family, you may not be able to build it based on what I am earning alone. You need to set up and do something. Maybe I've thought of A, B, C, D, E that I think you could get into, or have a few people that I think, and maybe he may have some strengths that he probably doesn't even know is a strength. You draw his attention to it. Maybe you could, instead of thinking of, working as an accountant for somebody, look, you are very good at events or very good at being an MC for somebody. Why don't I link you with a few people? So you can start MCing people's events, you can start doing certain things, and then who knows? That may even become his mainstay. So I think that the ultimatum is where I part ways with her. And then allowing it to happen for 3 years is where I have a problem with. But that being said, the harm has already been done. So go back and do proper communication with him so that both of you can appreciate where you are at, where you want to go, and then you can work towards it together.
Okay. Olivia, she does make it seem as if one of the reasons why she gave the ultimatum is also because she's feeling a lot of pressure from her family to settle down. She's 30 years and that kind of thing. Can she be excused for even doing that?
I don't think so. You see, I don't think so. It's all about tact, and it's all about how you communicate with your partner. I mean, the ladies have said it. The last thing you want to do in this situation is to give him an ultimatum. And he's been trying here. I think he's been trying. Maybe he's looking at the problem, so he can't seem to look out of the box. You did say that in the beginning of your relationship with him, he was very forthcoming, he was very generous, he was there to support you, whatever you wanted. I mean, this guy was there for you, to give you whatever you needed. I mean, you had nothing to lack. And it just so happened that life happened, and he's lost his job. So rather than give ultimatums, what I think you could do from here, because I think that after you said that, his reaction is making you so worried, because now you're scared that he will do something to himself. And so it means that what he said must have come across very hurtful. And he's in a state of mind whereby you're not even sure. And this is where I think that you can go back. Go back and apologize and let him understand that you didn't mean to come across like that, and that you want the best for both of you. You're getting pressure from your family, all of that, but you love him. And really, this is a test of your love for each other. And like the sisters have saying, like Rosie is saying, like Tina is saying, what you could do is, rather than look at the problem, how do you both find solutions to the problem? What are the alternatives? What can you both do? Trust me, things do happen. There's always ups and downs in every kind of relationship. Assuming that it was you who had lost your job when he was working, you could be comfortable with the fact that he'll be forking out the money for you. It wouldn't even be an issue and you'll be fine. But here's a case whereby the situations have turned around and he's lost his job. There are marriages whereby something happens and the man loses his job and the woman has to hold the fort. I mean, when hubby and I were living in the UK, it got to a point in time whereby I had to support, but at the end of the day, it was about communication. Okay, this is the situation. How best do we move forward? It's been 3 years. I know it's such a long time. So moving forward, how do we solve the problem? Yes, he's looking for jobs. What can we do to support him? What can you do to support him? Because if you genuinely love him and you think that he is the one and he hasn't given you any reason to doubt his love and he treats you right, and the fact that he just doesn't have the job is an issue, and I can understand it's an issue because it's an economic world out there. We need money. Love is not enough to to pay the bills. So the question is, what do you want, and do you have enough time to see him actually have a breakthrough in his life? What can you also do to support him? We know that you've been supporting him all this while, but rather than ditch this entire relationship, you've invested 3 years of your time, your love, your money, your resources into it. I don't think that you should just let it go. I think that you should buy a little more time, speak to him. It's different if you speak to him about coming up with other ideas in terms of looking out the box and finding something to do, finding a job, and he's just not doing anything and he's not bothered and he's there. Okay, if you say that and he's not bothered, that's a different story. But if you can see that he's being proactive, he's taking advice, and he's actually, no man wants to be there and just there and not provide for his family. I mean, it's their pride to be able to say, oh, I've got this, I've got my family sorted out. So please have that conversation with him. Go apologize and tell him that, my dear, I didn't mean to come across like that, but I love you and I want this to work. And I'm looking at the entire picture. What can we do to move forward? Your links and stuff like the sisters have said, by all means, and let's see how we can solve this as soon as possible. It will surprise you. And like I always say, please pray on it. You never know what's going to happen. Just pray on it and move. Don't just pray and just sit there, but pray on it and move. You never know what doors will open for you. I do believe that miracles always do happen. And take it from there, you'll be fine.
Okay. Now, for me, I would just say, take into cognizance his posture, his general posture, and sort of figure out the kind of guy he is. I say this because, and Tina, I don't know if I ever mentioned this story to you. I've been in a situation like that where I actually got a job for him, but it wasn't a job that he wanted. Oh. So he refused it. And this was if he had done it, like, it would have benefited both of us in the end, but he didn't want to. So it was two things. Either he was just comfortable with the fact that, okay, everything
providing,
would be taken care of anyway, so I won't get off my butt to work. Or, he was just a lazy guy. So you also want to look at these things. What type of man is he really? Because 3 years unemployed, you shouldn't be writing to the show. He should. To talk about the fact that I really love this woman. I want to marry her. And yet, I don't have a job. What do I do? Do you guys have any links? Like, you should see in his actions day to day, him online checking newspapers for, checking the classifieds to see what jobs he can get out there. But if he's just comfortable at home, just another day, after all, you bring the cheese, then you might want to look at this guy again. Let me bring a couple of comments. Israel says, probably a good idea. His breakthrough might be stuck with you. Who knows? Maybe you guys will find your breakthrough when you go your separate ways. All the best. Ifya says, this life is funny. It's neither here nor there. Your story brings to mind acrimony. My dear, pray with him. Support him with capital to start a business if you can. And let's see what God will do. Otherwise, if you can't take it anymore, just leave him. Sammy says, sincerely, the lady has tried. It's not easy for even a guy to support his lady selflessly for that long. But my dear, if you love him that much, you can help him establish something small for himself. Franklin says, so you can't marry a man who's jobless whilst you're still working? What if the table turned in his favor? Should he marry you when you're also jobless? Please, if indeed you love him, go ahead. God is capable of changing his situation. Hans says, you seriously did the wrong thing per the ultimatum. It's not as if he isn't striving to get a job. And who knows, maybe the long wait would be rewarding enough to get him $1 million job. And you'd both enjoy after all these years of sticking together. Ignore the pressure from family members. Francis says, as soon as the biological clock starts ticking, they don't hear anything. No. I hear ladies fall in love with men they love, but they get married to who is ready. All the best in your endeavors. Follow your instinct. That's an interesting comment. We should discuss it sometime, ladies.
I agree.
Posh says, no, who gives an ultimatum for marriage? Do you think the job you have now is permanent? The same thing could happen to you. You should support him with opening up a business rather than buying clothes and food. And finally, Ernest says, just take a walk, leave the innocent man alone till his breakthrough comes and he meets a more deserving woman. Those are a few of your comments coming in tonight. Don't forget, you can send a WhatsApp to 054-998-6996 or send an email to jessica@cityfmonline.com. Remember, the show is brought to you by Lydia, and with Lydia, you truly decide. Thank you so much for watching Sister Sister on your favorite City TV. Now, don't forget, if you want some more exciting content, you can always subscribe to our YouTube channel. We call it the City Tube. And don't forget to click on the bell to receive notifications for fresh updates.
Sister Sister, every Friday at 9 p.m. only on City TV.